Sexual Harassment by Susanna Held for Management 1110 Employment Law. Sexual harassment. The EEOC has defined sexual harassment in its guidelines as unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and other verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature when submission to such conduct is made either explicitly or implicitly a term or condition of an individual's employment, or submission to a rejection of such conduct by an individual is used as a basis for employment decisions affecting such individual. And finally, such conduct has the purpose or effect of unreasonably interfering with an individual's work performance or creating an intimidating, hostile, or offensive work environment. Sexual harassment includes many things. To name a few, they are sexual comments, sexual innuendos or stories, unwanted deliberate touching, leaning over, cornering or pinching, unwanted sexual looks or gestures, unwanted sexual teasing, jokes, remarks, or questions, catcalls, whistling, unwanted neck massages, facial expressions, winking, throwing kissing or licking lips, making sexual gestures with hands or through body movement, staring at someone, looking at a person, eyeing them up and down, standing close or brushing against a person, touching or rubbing oneself sexually around another person. Types of sexual harassment. Generally, there are two types of sexual harassment. The first being quid pro quo sexual harassment, the second being hostile work environment. Quid pro quo sexual harassment is when employment decisions like promotions, assignments, or keeping your job are based on your willingness to submit to the sexual harassment. Hostile work environment is when sexual harassment makes your workplace environment intimidating, hostile, or offensive. Ways of sexual harassment. There are 3 ways to sexually harass someone. 1 is verbally, 2 is non-verbally, and 3 is physically. Verbal sexual harassment. There are many ways to verbally sexually harass someone. Some of those are referring to an adult as a girl, hunk, doll baby, or honey, making sexual comments about a person's body, turning work discussions to sexual topics, telling sexual jokes or stories while at work, asking about sexual fantasies, making kissing sounds, howling, and smacking lips, repeatedly asking out a person who is not interested, telling lies or spreading rumors about a person's personal sex life. This slide shows an example of verbal sexual harassment. Nonverbal sexual harassment. There are many ways to do this. A few are looking at a person up and down, staring at someone, blocking a person's path, following the person, giving them unwanted personal gifts, displaying sexually suggestive visuals, making sexual gestures with hands or through body movements, making facial expressions such as winking, throwing kisses, or licking lips. This slide shows an example of nonverbal sexual harassment. Physical sexual harassment. The examples are giving a massage around the neck or shoulders, touching the person's clothing, hair, or body, hugging, kissing, patting, or stroking, touching or rubbing oneself sexually around another person, or standing close or brushing against another person. This slide shows examples of physical sexual harassment. Sexual harassment in the workplace. The U.S. Equal Opportunity Employment Commission defines workplace sexual harassment as unwelcome sexual advances or conduct of a sexual nature which unreasonably interferes with the performance of a person's job or creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive work environment. Sexual harassment can range from persistent, offensive sexual jokes to inappropriate touching to posting offensive material on a bulletin board. Sexual harassment at work is a serious problem and can happen to both men and women. Sexual harassment suits can only be brought against the employer. If the aggrieved individual wishes to initiate a lawsuit against the individual personally, he or she must sue the offender in tort. This slide shows workplace sexual harassment statistics. People who are sexually harassed say that 75% say they were targeted by male coworkers, 49% say they were harassed by male clients or customers, 38% said they were harassed by male managers, 10% say they were harassed by female coworkers. The results on this page exceed 100% because some respondents have been harassed in multiple situations. Requirements. 6 requirements must be satisfied for sexual harassment to exist. Number 1. The victimized employee alleging sexual harassment must be a member of a protected class, which is a man or woman. 2. The complaint must be gender-related. For example, a female must assert that there would have been no harassment if she were not a woman. Number 3. The employee must not have consented to the sexual advances or participated in the hostile work environment. 4. The harassment must be based on sex. 5. The conduct complained of must have had a deleterious effect on the employee's job. Number 6. The harassment must have occurred during the scope of employment. This slide shows more statistics of workplace sexual harassment. The most common forms of sexual harassment in the workplace: 55% say they were sexually suggestive comments or jokes. 50% say they were intrusive questions. 21% say they were unwelcome physical contact. And 31% say there was inappropriate staring or leering. Hostile work environment. A hostile work environment is a form of harassment. It is demonstrated by such severe and persuasive conduct that permeates the work environment and interferes with an employee's ability to perform his or her job. This slide shows 7 signs of a hostile work environment. Number 1, is poor communication between coworkers. 2, the credit is never yours. 3, the "you are lucky to be working here" statement has been made. 4, the office drama continues. 5, who left? High turnover of employees. Number 6, you are more lost with every meeting. And number 7, the evil boss dilemma. Discover the signs of working in a hostile work environment and learn how to turn it around.